rebellious, and I'm gobsmacked. I'm speechless right now. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say right now. And I'm really blown away. The Rooster Teeth are coming back. Oh, Rooster Teeth is coming back. What? For anyone who doesn't know, Rooster Teeth, they shut down last year due to Warner Media deciding that they were not worth keeping on board anymore, and because Warner Media owned the company, they just ceased operations due to lack of interest. Don't just love capitalism? Isn't it great? But yeah, so they shut their doors. I made a video about that. If you want more context on how I felt about that, the reasoning that I feel, and things like that, then that video is on my channel too. But today they posted a video. It was called Homecoming, and it was Bernie, and he did this video, and it was this huge wave of emotion for me, like this weird giant amalgamation spiral of emotion for me that I can't really quantify or verbalize in this video without like dissecting it and going into the little pieces. And I want to talk about exactly what, the process of all of this, and how I think it's going to go, and how I want it to go, and stuff like that. I want to talk about that. I just want to talk about it. So as you can see, I'm still sort of trying to pick up the pieces. So for anyone who doesn't know, Rooster Teeth is such a huge deal for me, such a massive deal. There was an era where Rooster Teeth were just like everything to me for a few years. I spent a lot of my time in my bedroom playing Xbox and watching movies and stuff like that. And during that time, I would play video games. I'd listen to the Rooster Teeth podcast. I'd go on the PC. I'd watch the Rooster Teeth Let's Plays. I'd watch the Rooster Teeth shorts. I'd watch them on my Xbox when I got up. I would watch Red vs. Blue start to finish. I was obsessed. It was a different type of obsession. Like the comfort you get from watching a show that you're a little bit nostalgic about, and you keep watching it and watching it. You kind of really don't want to stop. I'm embarrassed to admit that sometimes I get that with shows like Family Guy, where it's like I'm just so wrapped up in this nice, like, warm, comfy blanket that is this show. Imagine that for 3 years, and imagine it being, or 3 or 4 years. Imagine it being like all encompassing. Everywhere you go, it's just, and it was there. It was a part of everything that I did, and so things changed. Things changed. I'd say around about 2015 time, 2015, 2016. I felt that they were getting too, I've already explained this in another video, so I won't go too in depth, but I felt that they were getting too big for themselves and spreading themselves too thin. And I was just I went through a process of just accepting that, okay, they're just not, who I thought they were, and that door's closed and that chapter's over. But it's still a huge part of me. I still listen to those old podcasts. I still watch those old videos for that. Like, it's my core injection of nostalgia is going back to that time, because there was just such a comfort to it. There's so much comfort to old Rooster Teeth and how I felt at that time, like a nice warm glow of nostalgia. And so, when they went away, I guess I was okay with it. I had accepted it. It's just, they were not the company that I thought they were. They become far too corporate. When they got bought out, they were just not the same. And so that was it. And then all of these stars aligned and my brain did this weird thing, okay? My brain did this weird thing where, like, a bunch of stuff went into this little video, unintentionally, I'm assuming, but a bunch of stuff went in, and my brain just, like, amalgamated all of this, and created, like, context after context on top of context on top of context. My brain was just, like, rushing with context and building these connectors in these bubbles. And so by the end of the video, I was just like I was swelled up with emotion. So essentially in the video, Bernie pulls up to stage 5 which was their offices, and he walks in and the lights are off, and he switches the lights on, and he says, guys, I'm back from getting the milk. Oh yeah, I should mention to anyone who doesn't know, Bernie left a few years before the company went under, and Bernie was the founder. He was the mortar, that kept the bricks together. He was the glue, the backbone of the company. It really was Bernie Burns' company, of course, until he left. But yeah, then he came back, he switched the lights on, he said, I'm back from getting the milk, and then goes, what the hell happened? Because it's all shut down. Obviously, it's a joke. But yeah, I got so much out of that. Firstly, it reminded me a lot of RT short that they did back in the day, where they left their first office and it was all empty and they switched lights off. And so that was there was a level of poeticism to that. There was the idea of Bernie returning to the ship, and coming back, and I don't know, like the sense of the feeling that like the teacher's back, or like your mum's just come back when dad was looking after you on your own. I don't know what it is. Just a sense of returnal. And yeah, so seeing him like that was crazy, but seeing him in that empty environment was crazy too. But also, like, in creating all of this context, my brain was just like, but that's the guy who started it back then, and he's doing it now. And I was able to like contextualize this notion of a clean slate, of saying like, yeah, and he's starting from zero again. He's starting this over again, and that's what he did last time. And when he did it last time, what did we get? We got the legendary era of Rooster Teeth that lasted, in my opinion, just over 10 years. And we got that from the last time that he was driving the ship, that he was making these decisions and started again. And so like it all built up like this just poetic feeling of like him being there and returning to this empty office and starting again in a clean slate. And it was just like hearing him, he sounded just like he did back then too. It almost sounded a little bit like church. It was just a crazy moment for me. Now in terms of what's going to happen next, I will say I was doing some reading, some research, and apparently he said that to the displeasure of a lot of people, I'm sure, that no, there is no guarantee that the old crew is going to come back. I'm okay. You know what? So he said he's left the door open for them, and if they want to come back, then they can. If not, then that is what it is, and don't try to pressure them. Now look, you have to bear in mind that a lot of them are quite old and probably are just like, I'm done. I think particularly people like Gus and Jeff. I don't know, man. I'm not sure I can see Jeff coming back. He went through so much hardship with that company, and like I said, he is getting a bit older now. So yeah, they might not want to come back. I'm not sure if I could see Gavin coming back. Look, ideally, would I like them to come back? Yes. I have a crew in my head of people I would love to come back. I'd love for Jack to come back, for Jeff, for Gus, for Gavin, for Michael, maybe even like Ray. I'd love those guys to come back. But if it doesn't, I'm fine with that, because the fact is, like I said earlier, this is how things started. Bernie's done it before. He's put together a crew before, and I know it's like catching lightning in the bottle, but essentially we have three options. Either they are going to come back, or and that will be awesome, or he will create a new team and it will be just like how it was before, because he's good at creating teams, or it will flop. But regardless, it's not like it's going to besmirch the name of Rooster Teeth, and it's not like it's going to be in any way negative. If it doesn't go well, then we weren't going to have anything anyway, and now we've got this. So I'm happy with the fact that he's picking it up again, and I'm just so excited about the notion of a clean slate. I think the company just went through too much. I think a lot of people have like their reason for everything going under, and I just think there was too much of everything. Personally speaking, I've said this before, but I think them being bought out was the biggest factor, and I think it led to a lot of these issues. But they went through so much, man. You know, a lot of people say that Joel, being fired is the reason, and no, he won't come back. A lot of people will say, along the same vein, that they got too quote-unquote woke. Though I do think that a lot of people backed out because they felt that that was happening. I don't think that's the reason. However, I mean, look, this is where things get like a little bit tough, and it sounds as though I'm like questioning my own values, but I do feel as though maybe there was a sense that they were trying to force a shake-up a little bit too much, and there was a lot of like, okay, you know what, we're not the same guys, and we're not the people who, cause that controversy, and we're clean now and friendly, and it felt very forced. The rebranding just didn't hit with anyone. I don't know what they were thinking there. But there was definitely a push to like refresh the cast and change all of that, and I don't think that's what people wanted, and that's another reason I'm excited about Bernie coming back, is because I do think that the best thing that can happen here is a clean slate for the company, and to go, okay, we're going to give this another shot. And I think whatever crew comes in here, and whatever they do with that crew, I think having less of a focus on cleaning themselves up and getting away from controversy and trying to be an all-inclusive team, coming off of the backbone of not being one, will be very beneficial, and that's something I'm very excited about. Do I think the company should just ignore being inclusive? Absolutely not. But I think the sort of forced sense of it didn't really help them, and they certainly were not a crew that I really honestly, I don't want to sound mean, but they were just not my Rooster Teeth. Hopefully there was someone else's, but they were not mine, and hopefully Bernie will be able to, like I said, either create a great crew or like build something that feels like it used to. I think one of the biggest advantages now that is he just owns the brand. He has that name, and that's about it. And so he can do whatever he wants with it. It's malleable. It's Rooster Teeth again. It's pre-buyout Rooster Teeth, and that's when he was at his best. That was when he was able to just like create something fun and good, and something that felt like it could be that warm blanket. I could never feel the way about post-buyout Rooster Teeth that I did about pre-buyout Rooster Teeth, because it never felt connected to me, and I said this in my previous video. But now Bernie has a chance to do that, because it's just a thing for him to do again, and I'm so excited about that. I'm very excited about the future of Rooster Teeth, and I will tell you this now, I'm going to watch whatever they post for a bit, unless it's absolutely dog shite. Count me in. I'm absolutely going to come back for every new upload until I just don't like what's being done, and then I'll back out again. But until then, let's go. Yeah, I'm absolutely down for this, and I can't wait to watch more.
The PlayStation's only $149, and you can also get leading titles.